Well, it's been a minute since I published the last video. I am Aaron Whipple, author of The Killing Conspiracy, a military sci-fi espionage novel with elements of magic and LBGT characters in and out of the military. Check it out. I'm still working on it. It will be available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Nook, so on and so forth, when I do have it ready. So I made this video previously with almost the same title, 4 tips on writing military fiction. The sound was pretty terrible. It was my first video of this channel out on YouTube, so I wanted to go back to that, revisit that, and record a little bit better sound, and rehash those points. There's a lot I think is missing from the military fiction genre, especially with recent events and a lot of possible authors who have ideas, who served in the military, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, and maybe you want to write about it, don't know where you want to get started. That's what I'm here for. So with no further ado, and all intents and purposes of BAMSIS, let's get to it. I just mentioned in my little intro spiel and whatnot about people with actual military experience in theater, be that Iraq, Afghanistan, Africa, what have you, and maybe want to write from that experience but don't exactly know where to get started. So that brings me to tip number 1. Have your own military experience. Avi. Obviously that's, personally have served in a branch of your country's military. Me and myself, here in the United States, I served in the U.S. Marine Corps for almost 10 years. If you've been in another country's military, depending on where you're watching this in the world, you're going to have your own unique experience. I myself was in the Marine Corps, like I said, from 2004 to 2013, and I was in Iraq, actually boots on the ground, as a combat engineer in the Operation Iraqi Freedom with the coalition and everything. I served as military police, physical security, a lot of different skills and background and experience to aid in actually making writing the fiction more genuine. If it seems like I'm a little scatterbrained and whatnot, you see I got my notebook right here. It has definitely been a minute since I've recorded a video. Trying to get back into that loop, trying to get back into that whole, skill set, because recording is a skill set just like anything else. So please do, by all means, bear with me. My second tip for all the potential military authors out there is, if you don't have first-hand experience from service in whichever branch of military in whichever country around the world, get second-hand information. One of the most prolific, I think, military style authors out there was Tom Clancy. His books were eventually turned into video games, to movies, namely that of The Division, Rainbow Six, Hunt for Red October, that was a movie. Some of All Fears, hell, I think that's even a movie, or there's some kind of Jack Ryan-esque series on Amazon Prime. So you definitely have the potential, if it's a good, well thought out story, with secondhand information from somebody that did actually serve in the military. Who knows, maybe you can get that far with your authorship work. Tom Clancy himself had partnered with Marine Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North on a lot of his books to have that information where he could write it and make it actually sound genuine, using terminology, so on and so forth, that he may not have otherwise known. But he had those, military serving friends and partners where he could actually get that information from. Ollie North actually partnered with Tom Clancy on quite a few of the books that he put out, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. Now, real quick, if you do find videos like this helpful, help me out, help yourself out, and in doing your own writing, I would definitely appreciate it. Tap the subscribe button for more tips, info, insight into the killing conspiracy and writing military style fiction. Tip number 3, do a lot of research. You don't necessarily need to have military experience. Just do a lot of research. That goes hand in hand really with number 2 in the case of Tom Clancy. Another author, creator, screenwriter even out there was Stanley Kubrick. He did a lot of research for Full Metal Jacket, but he also did go straight to the horse's mouth pretty much, and initially had contracted R. Lee Ermey to be a consultant to the actor who was originally going to play Gunnery Sergeant Hartman in Full Metal Jacket. But the genuineness and the element of the Marine Corps that at the time Staff Sergeant Ermey brought to the screenplay, Kubrick said, nope, you're it. On top of doing his own research on how the Marine Corps actually was operating, both with boot camp and in country in Vietnam during that time period in which Full Metal Jacket takes place. Now, another military author who didn't really have a whole lot of military experience per se was Stephen Ambrose. He was the author of Band of Brothers. His dad himself was a Navy doctor in World War II, and he loved seeing the newsreels from World War II, that they would play at the movie theaters and whatnot during the time. On top of that, he had to learn the customs and courtesies, the discipline, the rank structure of the military. I'm sure he learned, some of that from his dad with the Navy, but, when you're writing something like Band of Brothers, that was more specifically with the Army, the rank structure is different depending on the branch. There are a lot of similarities, a lot of the symbols are the same, but it gives you more that broad spectrum, be able to incorporate, and being genuine is a absolutely huge thing when it comes to writing military fiction, because there are very specific things that we would have to incorporate that we have experienced that are an everyday thing for the military. So in the case of Ambrose, though he didn't have a whole lot of experience himself aside from ROTC at the University of Wisconsin, he interviewed many veterans for Band of Brothers as part of his research. So going back to having that genuine aspect of it, he made sure that he had that, and it sounded exactly the way it would be for somebody in the military during World War II. Fourth tip, combine 1 through 3. Not everyone is going to have the same experience. Take and learn from other service members and other veterans. Do your research. Really, you do definitely want to combine 1 through 3. And I'm finding myself not actually looking at the camera. With that, an Air Force airman isn't going to have the same experience of what U.S. Marine Corps missions are going to be like. A Marine Combat Engineer isn't going to know how to fly an F-35, but an Air Force airman isn't going to know how to employ C4 the way a Marine would to blow through an obstacle. So definitely do your research, combine personal experience, other people's experience, get it all together, get all the information that you can. All that information, research, and experience is going to help massively with incorporating and making the genuine aspects of the military as clear as possible for your military fiction. And some pauses here and whatnot. I appreciate you guys sticking through this video with me. Hopefully the sound is better quality. appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. I'm going to get back into the habit of this. Like I said, it's definitely a skill set. And the Killing Conspiracy, definitely being worked on. I'm dropping little bits here and there. It was going to be released on December 31st, but with different things going on in my life and with work, that's another video. Working while riding, not been able to get it done in the year that it's been since I started it. So I just appreciate every one of you guys. Stick with me, stay tuned for more updates, and see you guys around.